Today, I'm very happy to be able to give you information of why we get sick and how to get well. Hi friends, my name is Elaine. I'm an herbalist. I haven't always been an herbalist. One of the things I have done in my lifetime is I've always trusted in my doctor and trusted in the things that they had offered me. There was one time back in my early 40s that I got really sick. My joint was hurting, my back was hurting, my legs were hurting, I couldn't walk, and I didn't know what else to do. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor diagnosed me with rheumatoid arthritis. And so it went on for about a year, and I thought, well, there has to be something else. After a year of hurting and not being able to get well and not to feel better with what I was doing, I had to get well. So I started thinking about what could I possibly do. And at that point, I didn't have herbs in my head. Wasn't thinking about them. And then about that time, my sister-in-law came to me and she said, Elaine, I have just joined this multi-level market. Now, this was back in the late 80s. And she says, I want you to come and go with me. And I says, well, okay, I'll go. So Esther and I were sitting in the audience waiting for the program to begin. We heard behind us this person. He was screaming, oh, I'm in so much pain. I'm hurting so badly. What can I possibly do? I don't know. And so then the whole audience turned around and looked at this man, and he was walking with a cane. He was limping. And so he just came up the middle, past all of us, and he headed for the stage. And I thought, oh, he's not going to get up the stage. He's going to be hurting. He won't make it. But he did. He went up the steps, one step at a time. And he got up on the stage, and then he did something really remarkable and unusual for a man who's hurting and pain. You wouldn't think that he would do this. He gave this cane a toss and started doing this little dance on the stage. And I thought, wow, what's going on here? Then he went on and talked to us about herbs and how they detox the body, how they remove the pain. And he said that cane that he walked up to the stage was his cane. He had been in a time in his life where he was hurting, and it was something that he had learned out himself. So he started this company. And so I worked with my sister-in-law for several months, and then I heard about this opening to this job at a health food store, and I thought, wouldn't that be really cool if I could get on working there? I could learn a lot more about health and stuff. So as I was working at the health food store, and I worked there for 6 years, I had several people that would come in hurting. And this one man, he came in, he was on the basketball team there in Seattle. He was about 6'5" tall, and he came in all doubled over. He says, oh, I'm hurting so badly. And I says, well, tell me what happened. And he said he had leg cramps, and he'd gone to his doctor, and his doctor says, well, you need more calcium. And I said, yeah, that's true, you do. And so the doctor had put him on 1,200 milligrams of Tums. Now, Tums is a calcium, but Tums depletes acid in the stomach. It depletes the ability to digest the food. There's one place in our body where we have to have the acid, and that is in the stomach. And so the Tums he was taking, and since he was taking so many of them, depleted the acid in his stomach. So when he would eat, it would cause him severe pain. He couldn't hardly move. And he says, and I'm not going back to the doctor because I know what he told me. So he said, do you have anything that would help me? And I says, well, first of all, you need digestive enzymes to increase that acid in your stomach so you can actually digest the food. And second of all, you need to take something for your leg cramps. So I said, calcium is right for the leg cramps. So I went to the shelf and I got digestive enzymes, and I opened them up, and I said, if you don't want this after it's all over, I will go ahead and pay for it. And so I opened the bottle and I handed him 4 capsules. And he took them. I got him some water, and he was able to take those 4 capsules. And so then we went to the shelf that had the calcium on it, and I picked out a calcium that's a calcium citrate. It contains magnesium, it contains vitamin D, and several other minerals that the body requires to help strengthen the bones and stop the leg cramps. And so By the time I got through talking to him about the calcium, he was standing up tall and he said, my stomach is feeling so much better. He says, thank you. And I said, don't take any more Tums. That's not going to benefit you. That's the wrong kind of calcium. So there are calciums out there that are not good for one specific subject, but they're good for other things. And I'm not going to talk about getting off your medications, and I'm not going to talk about using herbs along with your medications because they do not work together. The herbs go in and try to find the cause of the disease to detox and neutralize heavy metals and substances in your body, whereas the medications just stop your symptoms. So I won't talk to you about that, but there are 5 things that we need to talk about. These things will stop bringing toxic substances into your body. And then these are hard. These are not easy. These are things that are lifestyle. So you'll have to change your lifestyle in order to get well. The first thing that I want to suggest is to stop using your microwave ovens. Back when I was a girl, our moms just cooked food on the stove, and the burner heated the pan and the pan heated the food. And when we were through, we still had live enzymes and vitamins and minerals in the food we were eating, and so we stayed healthy. Microwave ovens produce magnetrons, which are electromagnetic radiation. And microwaves are in fact radiation. They are classified as non-ionizing radiation. It can change the position of the atoms in the food, but still cause physical alterations to the food, even though the food still looks the same. So in order to heat something in the microwave, there must be water in the foods that you put in the microwave. Then it starts creating friction in the molecules of the food by vibrating at an incredible speed, which tears apart the molecules, vigorously deforming the molecules of the food that you're going to eat out of the microwave. There are no atoms of any organic system able to withstand such violent friction. So what happens to the enzymes and the vitamins and the minerals in our food? They're broken to a point that when you eat the food, it is then not nutritionally beneficial. So it becomes fiber. And this fiber, the body says, well, there's nothing there for me. There's no vitamins and minerals that I can use to repair the damage of the body. There's no minerals or vitamins there to rebuild muscle tissue or strengthen the bones. So this fiber then is stored on the body because the body will assume that we're trying to starve it because all we're doing is eating foods that has no enzymes or vitamins in it. So this fiber is then stored, and we have an increased lump on our hip or our leg or our arm or our belly. But the fiber that is put on there does not promote colon activity. So it's not that kind of fiber. It's another kind of fiber. So to eliminate putting more radiation in our body, we have to stop doing this. This is not a beneficial, helpful thing. Then their second thing, and I've heard lots of stories on YouTube about this very thing, but I'm going to mention drinking bottled water. Bottled water is one of the things that has come up. The water in the bottles is perfectly clean, pure. It might even be from a spring. It's wonderful water, but it's not the water that's causing the problem. It's the plastic. Manufactured plastic will have BPA in it, BHT, and BPS. These are hormones in the water. So when we're eating food like with the microwave that has no vitamins, minerals, no enzymes, and now we're drinking water that is a hormone disruptor, our hormones are in charge of the whole body. They control everything in our body. And when we disrupt the hormones, then we have a hormone imbalance and we can't function. It makes our minds go bad. We don't have good, proper memories. It can cause increased cramping when a woman is having her period. The hormone imbalance will cause a man and a woman to not be able to conceive a child. Hormone imbalance. We do need the water, but we don't need to have these hormone disruptors in our system. They are not good for our health. There's wonderful water filters that we can get, and it's important to filter the water because A lot of the water has chlorine, which is toxic for the body, so we don't need to add that on top of everything else that we're adding to our body to make ourselves sick. So we have to eliminate and filter out some of these things that are causing problems. Another thing that I want to switch to now are processed foods. Now, processed foods are almost in everything. Processed foods are the breakfast cereals in the box. All the cereals and all of the processed foods are in cans. They're in soda pop. They're in anything that's been altered from the natural balance of what it's supposed to be is considered a processed food. So these processed foods, most of them have synthetic vitamins. They have added salt. Now, if they're in a box or a can, that keeps them from rotting on the shelf. And that would take away the manufacturer's idea for putting these processed foods out. Now, the processed foods are a lot cheaper than the whole foods. We have to pay more, but the whole foods are more beneficial. So when we eat the processed foods, we're actually saving money on our food, but we're spending more money because we end up in doctor's care or hospitals because our bodies are lacking these vitamins and enzymes and nutrition that we require for our body to repair the damage that's done, to keep us active, to balance our hormones, to do all of the things that we need. And processed foods, like I say, added more salt, more sugar. And so let's say when we go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, you've got high cholesterol. You're real close to having a heart attack. You might even have a stroke. It's because of this added salt and added sugar and added protection for the food that helps to keep it active for us to be able to buy it and eat it. But it's not good for us because it's not giving any benefit to our bodies or our systems. Another thing I want to mention is the dangers of antiperspirants. Today we hear a lot about breast cancer. And today we're hearing a lot about men getting breast cancer also. It's not just women anymore. I heard a story, a young girl, she was like 18 or 19, and she says, well, my mother just died of breast cancer, and I'm not going to die of breast cancer. I worked it out with my doctor that she's going to cut my breasts off, and then I won't get breast cancer. And I thought, well, how really sad that is, because it's not the breasts that cause the cancer. It's overtoxicity, and it's the buildup of toxins in the body. So when we use antiperspirants, they hinder the estrogen in the body. So if a man, which has a lot of testosterone, uses antiperspirants, it increases the estrogen in their body. And so they start having more problems because it's not normal for a man to have a lot of estrogen. So, and a woman to have more estrogen than what she needs would cause kicking in of her testosterone to balance the overabundance of estrogen in her system. The next thing that antiperspirants do is they add formaldehyde. Now, formaldehyde dries up the moisture. That's why they put it in the antiperspirants, because it dries up the perspiration. But formaldehyde is also the chemical that morticians use when they prepare the body for burial. So we don't need added formaldehyde to our body. Anyway, not yet. Another thing that I'm really getting to, that's the one thing that worries me so much, is that antiperspirants contain aluminum. Aluminum is a heavy metal, and it blocks the pores underneath the arm from perspiration escaping. So what happens to this toxic perspiration that really needs to get out of the body because it's not supposed to be there? That's why it comes out out of the pores. It blocks the perspiration from getting out, and so it forces this toxic perspiration into the breast cavity. And in this situation where this girl is going to have her breasts cut off, it would go into her lungs, so she would develop lung cancer because a buildup of toxins in the body will cause the diseases to start growing. Anything that we do over and over and over again, it causes these toxins to build up. So when we drink the bottled water, for instance, and we continue to drink it over and over and over because our body craves water, we need that water, but we don't need the hormone imbalance of the plastic. But when we continually drink it over and over and over again, like the processed foods, we do them 3 or 4 times a day. Those build up in our system, and all of these things on a continual basis causes the diseases that our bodies have. So we need to change our lifestyle, change our diets, change our habits, so that we can knock these things out and stop toxifying our bodies. The last thing is sugar. Now, I watched a video this morning about a doctor who was talking about that every disease is because we're burning sugar in our body. They have sugar in our processed foods. And that brings up the insulin level from our pancreas. So our insulin is active all the time throughout all of the day. And so we're burning that insulin, causing the pancreas to overwork, which causes insulin resistance and diabetes. And if you have diabetes, then you know all about what I'm talking about. If you don't have diabetes, then these things on a continual basis will cause you to gain diabetes for your body. Sugar is in a lot of foods that we're eating. And a 9-ounce bag of potato chips breaks down into about 32 teaspoons of sugar. And this is not my research. This is a research done by the Nutritional Weight and Wellness Corporation. Let's say you have a candy bar. That's about 48 to 50 teaspoons of sugar in that candy bar, which destroys your insulin level. 6 hours after you've eaten some sugar or candy bar, you have no immune system. So if we wake up in the morning and we have breakfast cereals that contain sugar, then we go to work with no immune system. Then at lunchtime, we eat foods that will bring up our energy because we're tired because of the processed foods we're eating. That makes you tired because it's not giving you any vitamins or minerals. So your body is tired all the time. You might even develop headaches because when the body does not have the nutrition it needs, it cries out. It says, help, I need it. And there's a lot of people who are completely overweight because they say, well, I've tried everything. I don't know what to do. I can't lose weight. It's because we're not putting our body any nutrition, and it throws the thyroid balance out. And so when the thyroid is out, then the metabolism is down. Our immune system is down. We can't think clearly because we're tired. So this does a lot of damage. With these things I'm telling you, if we can eliminate, will bring balance back to the body. So there's no nutrition in sugar. There's no protein. There's not even any carbohydrates. There's no healthy fats. There's no nutrition in sugar. So again, it goes right along with the foods we're eating, the microwave oven killing the vitamins and minerals in our food that we put in the microwave to eat. So we eat that food. There's no nutrition in there. The bottled water destroys the balance of our hormones. So we don't have a hormonal balance. And hormones, I'm going to say one more time, hormones control every action in our body, from the brains to the heart to everything that we're going on. The hormone balance is so important that we do this. So we need to eliminate some of these things out of our daily lifestyle. We can do these things. These are hard things because they're lifestyle. So if you've enjoyed this video or this information, will you please give me a like and subscribe? And I'll be coming out with more videos that will help us all. In fact, because I'm still learning myself, we're all getting benefit from how to get well. Thank you for watching.